All right, welcome back to the channel. We're out here on what I like to call a beautiful day. It's overcast. The rain let up about an hour ago and it is turning into glass out here. It's just a little bit of ripple and that is perfect. I feel like we're just gonna do really well tonight and hopefully a big fish. So stay tuned. I'm just gonna launch this kayak and we're gonna get at it. And for my last video, this is the cove that I tore them up at. I mean, I literally can just start casting right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and work around this little cove, and then we're just gonna kind of follow up. There's a bunch of docks down here, a couple other little coves, and we're just gonna follow around on the bank and see what we can find. We did really good the last time we were here. And I'm hoping for a big one. I'm gonna throw a few different baits today, see if we can get a hold of that monster. And let's just see what happens. I'm pumped. Like, oh my gosh, I just got hammered. Oh my, dude, something's biting it. Something's biting the A-rig. That was the first hit was huge. I thought for sure he would have been hooked. That was just like an overexcited, like, half-pound bass or something. He just couldn't get the thing in his mouth. Oh my gosh, I just missed another one. Why aren't they eating it? There's a fish. That's what's eating it. These little largemouth. It's exactly what's missing it. They don't know how to fit it in their mouth yet. Alright, it's a start. We're not skunked. That's awesome. But I hope that's all that's out here, these tiny little largemouth. So I have never fished this cove before. But it's nice and shallow right here, and then it drops right off all around this point. So it's a good spot. Oh, there's a fish. You! I was about to say, I was like, this is a great spot. This is like a shallow point, drops off all the way around it. And it was true. Not a giant. Okay, so there's fish busting on some shad right in front of me. I think they're just threadfin. But something was just busting on them. I don't know if it was largemouth or white bass or what. But at least there's bait in here right now, so that's a good sign. I'm throwing something just like what they look like. Here we go. Whew, there was a hit. Oh my gosh. What was that? How come I keep missing these fish tonight? There's a fish. There we go. That's a little better. That's better. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're talking. Chunks. Yes. I saw those bait fish jumping. I knew there was something chasing them around down there. That was this guy. And hopefully there's a few more of these guys. Awesome. Check out that little guy. That is the best bass of the night so far. That's awesome. Whew. I got my blood going. When he hit it, it just felt like a little bluegill or something, but decent little bass. All right, so I don't know what this swan wants. It keeps coming up to my kayak and saying hi. It looks like he might be leaving now, but he was circling my kayak. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, it's another good bass. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, some bigger bass over here. I was getting a little bit tired of those small bass. That's what I'm talking about. Awesome. I'm getting some better fish today. That is sweet. This is not a bad little bucket. That is awesome. Couple quality bass right in a row. Let's get the release on this girl. That is so cool. Thing hit it like a ton of bricks too. That was so much fun. Right off this point. So this is a little cove. I just caught the other one right behind me. And I decided to try this point right. All I did was spin around and took one cast. And there was another one. Right off the point. But again, I catch one fish and I have to go somewhere else. I have to turn around. I have to take casts other places. Usually they're like right there together. Like the other day bank fishing. I gotta get off these rocks. I was literally casting in like the same spots over and over again in all those coves on the bank. And so many fish were in the same spot. They were just all schooled up with the crappie. Like everything was just together. Even that drum. I caught a drum that was like right next to where I caught a couple bass, and I caught a big drum. They're all just biting. But today's different, but I'm catching better fish today, which is exactly why I came out here today, because I'm having a feeling there's a hog that's ready to be caught. There is a giant out here, and there's some big smallmouth out here too. This spot isn't maybe as good as some other locations that I fish for smallmouth. I would think maybe more for largemouth in this spot, but I think there's some quality smallies in here. There's a fish. There's another decent one. They're all over this little windblown cove right here. I don't think maybe it's not as big as the last one, but that's still like way better than those like 1-pounders, you know? Very cool. They're not giants, but they're better than those little tiny ones any day. All right, so that's 3 nice fish in probably about 4 minutes. So I'm gonna stick around this little edge right here. I'm gonna keep fishing this little point, this drop-offs. This bank looks so good right now, so I might even throw the A-rig out and see if we can get a bigger fish. There's a fish. That's a big fish. That's a big fish. I don't know what that is. That's a big fish. Big fish. What do we got? Is that a drum? It better not be a... God dang it, it's a big drum. It's okay. It's still a fish. That is a good sized drum too. Man, I thought that was the big smallmouth I was after. Man, those are disappointment fish right there. I mean, that's a pretty good sized drum, but that is not what I wanted. The way he hit it was like a huge smallmouth. That's a big fish. Look at that big guy. Kayak drum fishing. That's gonna be my new channel. Jeez, that's actually a pretty big drum. Look at the size of that thing. That's a big drum. That's not my biggest, but it's a good one. Frickin' wanted that Kitech, didn't he? Alright, this wind is getting crazy. I gotta get away from this dock real quick. Holy cow. I thought that was a giant smallmouth when he hit. I was so excited. Alright, so we're gonna release the beast. We want a smallmouth. Not you. But thank you for coming. Now we still have about an hour to fish. The fishing should be still good right now. I think it's about 8 o'clock or whatever when it gets dark. So right now is prime time. But for some reason, I just missed one fish on this whole bank. And that other cove, I got like 5 fish in like 10 minutes. So maybe this just isn't the bank. I gotta find them. There's a fish. That's a big fish. That's a big fish. Hopefully it's not another drum. It kind of feels like another drum, but maybe it's not. Let's find out. Yep, it's another drum. Man, those things are thumping it so hard. That's a big drum. That's another big drum. That's cool. I'm just going to appreciate them. No discrimination here. Man, these are some big pig drums. Gosh, look at the size of these things. I gotta get away from this dock here in a second. Alright. Oh, I think that might be a little bit bigger than the last one. Let's circle around so I can fish this dock a little bit here in a second. This is a lot more fun than catching them at the dam. I actually get to fight them here instead of just the current. Sweet. Look at the size of that one. It's a good sized drum. That swim bait is working well for these guys today. Look at the size of those guys. These aren't the giants, but that's still a big one. That's a nice fish. We're gonna get a release on this big girl. There she goes. No more drums. Tell your friends. So I think we're gonna cruise on out of here. There's a fish. There we go. That's a better fish. That's another largemouth. He just tossed my bait. That's not near as big as the ones I was getting a little bit ago, but that's a good change up from a frickin' drum. I tell you. Not a giant. But it's still fun. I'm afraid I'm going to keep catching these drums if I hang out next to these banks. There's a hit. There he is. Oh, that's a bass. Just a baby. Just a little guy. But they are on the banks. So we're just gonna make our way back to the boat launch, just kind of casting as we go. Do a big one before we get out of here. It's super windy, so I apologize. I don't have my mic on. There's a fish. Oh, that was a smallmouth. And he destroyed my last swim bait. The last good one that I have. I'll try biting it. I don't think that's going to do any good. This thing is tore up from the floor up. Man, those fish were piled up into this cove. Caught so many fish, missed fish. I never got a bite earlier on this section. That doesn't mean there's a fish on the drop. On the drop. Oh, that's a nice little largemouth right there, guys. I'll take him. He is an ugly looking largemouth. He's got like spots and all sorts of stuff going on him. Check his colors out. He's got some strange spots. Swallowed that thing. Awesome. This is not the giant again, but not a bad fish. I mean, he hit it on the drop. I literally hit the water and I was like letting it count down for a second, and the thing just like, my rod just bent.